Happy New Year, and we're back. Today, we have a special episode because we do have some special guests, and I must tell you, this episode contains explicit language, colorful language, strong language that may not be suitable for everyone. So please take care. Welcome to Bulls and Red. And a warm welcome to everyone who's listening. This is Bulls and Red, our RB Leipzig podcast in English. We're at home in Leipzig, and we are pushing this out to everyone, wherever you are, anyone to listen to us. So we're recording this quite late. We'll come to that a little bit later because we do have special guests. But before we get to them, I'm going to be impolite and turn to Richard, the brain of the podcast. Richard, how are you today?
Hey, Mario. Thank you. Happy New Year, everyone, because it's the very first episode we're recording in 2025. The Hinrunde almost over, 2 more games to come, and I counted them. I think it's going to be 6 games in January, so we're going to be quite busy, right?
Going to be quite busy, and it has to be a lot better than the winless November period, but we'll come to that later. And since we have 6 matches in January, our first one's going to be on Sunday. I'm going to be there on Sunday. I'm looking forward to that. And we managed to reach out to a North American podcast for about Werder Bremen. And I'm so happy and so delighted and honored that Ben and Christian could join us at this very short notice. But for you guys, it's in the afternoon. For us, it's a little bit later in snowy Leipzig. So your name is really intriguing because, first of all, when I noticed that it's not easy being green, now that could mean many things, but referring to Werder Bremen, Ben, isn't it much easier this season to be green? And welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mario. Yeah, absolutely. This year, it's a lot easier being green. What we've also noticed is that when we record our live show, we get a lot of environmental enthusiasts jumping on, checking out what we're doing. So big shout out, go green. But yeah, over the years, I mean, we started this in 2017. I became a fan in 2010, which was basically the last of the good years. So we have slogged and dragged the carcass of this podcast through the worst that Werder Bremen has had to offer. And yeah, so this year we are delighted, and yet fully pessimistic.
I mean, we couldn't be supporters if we weren't fully pessimistic. We got to live up to the title of our podcast, you know?
Yeah, the idea for the podcast actually came from Kermit the Frog's song "It's Not Easy Being Green." It was a Muppet song that had happened, and that was the name of the song. And at the time, it was languishing to watch Werder Bremen, and I just thought, boy, those two things work so well together. And so ta-da! All right, there you go. That's where the name. It wasn't that is about the height of the genius you can expect from us.
I'm totally impressed.
Now wait for the letdown. Here it comes.
The bar is not very high, obviously.
No.
Christian,
Yes.
What made you join the fan base and crew of SV Werder Bremen?
So my mother was born in Aurich, and I don't know if you guys know where Aurich is, but it's up by Bremen. And then she came over to Canada in about just after the war, so like 1952. My Oma was born in Duisburg. My Opa was born in, well, I guess Prussia. So we know that doesn't exist. He'd probably be a Rostock supporter, unfortunately.
My God.
But yeah, so it's a bit weird because here in Canada, we didn't have a lot of exposure to German football when I was growing up. So I'm about 44, I'm going to be 45 this year. So in the 80s and the 90s, we mostly, if we got anything, it was primarily, obviously, you get a bit of the NASL. I was too young for that. We'd get a lot of English, Scottish football, and then some Italian football, depending on what you had illegal satellite dishes and stuff like that. But German football was kind of infrequent. We would obviously get the World Cup. So, I mean, we go to my Oma's house like almost every weekend. You know, I'd sit with my uncles who would be chain smoking, drinking beers, watching World Cup football. You know, and I knew that Germany had a national team. I knew we knew about Scheisse Bayern. You know, I knew that they weren't my club because we were from up north. So God forbid we have anything to do with them. You know, a bunch of farmers. And I think, man, I was about, 16, 17. The internet sort of opened up world football a little bit more. And I started to take a look at what was going on in the Bundesliga. Like, I know in the newspaper we would have the tables. And I sort of asked my mom, I was like, you're from Malady, who was by there. So I started to look at the teams. And I just arbitrarily picked Werder at the time. I didn't quite know too much outside of their colors. I knew that they were close to where my mom was born. I know I could pick Duisburg, and I think they were actually playing in the Bundesliga in around that time as well. I had a cousin in Hanover as well, but I was like, that's well, I actually have family in Pirmasens, so Kaiserslautern. But yeah, I
Yeah.
ended up going with Bremen. Yeah, and I've been following them since I guess we'll say like the late 90s, so about 98, 99.
Those were the good
And
years.
obviously yeah, it was a pretty fucking good time to start watching, honestly. Um, and I would have to listen. I don't know if you guys know what Real Player is. But they would have they would have like the old Bremen games on Real Player for like a week
Oh
later.
my
So I'd
goodness.
have to, and at that time, my German was actually pretty good. I was bilingual, actually trilingual for an extended period of time. Now my German's, it needs a lot of work just because we don't speak it as much at home anymore. But I would listen to old games in German on Real Player, and that's how I got it. And then obviously, Satanta would pick up games, and then I was actually able. By the time about the early 2000s rolled around, I was actually able to watch us. I mean, I remember watching us win the DFB Pokal, so winning the double, the domestic double. Like I still get shivers. I was incredibly hungover, and like I think I threw up my friend's all over his carpet the night before. But I mean, yeah, I got some incredibly fun. So I've been following these guys for 20 plus years at this point. I've been through the best of it and then through the worst. And that's been a trip into itself. And now we're I'm really hesitant to say on the rise. I don't want to get too worked up. There's a lot to still do there, but we're not what we were. Thank fuck.
It's been really impressive. You had an impressive run so far, and then we should come back to that later. But did either one of you ever get to watch Werder Bremen live, either in Germany, in Europe, or even I don't know if you've ever been over to the States or to North America?
I personally, so the last time I was in Germany was 1998. And
Okay.
it was right after the World Cup. It was so fucking poorly planned. I went with one of my best friends at the time. His mom was French and his dad was Italian. So we went to go visit our families. We went literally after the World Cup and then left Germany like a few days before the Love Parade. So it was absolutely terribly planned. We missed all the best shit going on in Europe at that time. I didn't catch any Bundesliga games. I didn't go to the Love Parade. I didn't watch any of the World Cup. You did still have an incredible time because we're like a bunch of 18-year-olds. I mean, you can still buy the Euro Rail passes. So, long story
Oh
short,
yeah.
I've still never been to the Weserstadion. My sister, my 7-year-old nephew has been. My mom has been. I've still never been, and I'm probably the most loyal supporter out of my entire. I will go sometime soon, God willing. Ben,
I was gonna say, who's your travel agent, Amelia Earhart? That's terrible.
I know it's shameful, shameful.
So Ben, did you ever make it over to Bremen?
No, just a couple of dumbstruck romantics here. We had saved up for a while so that we could do this thing, my wife and I, and as it just so happened, life as it was, we ended up needing to move, and so the finances that were saved for that particular trip were invested in the move, and hey, there it is, Christian. Nice. Oh, you even get the lights. That is so awesome. That's
They're coming
so
for
on
me.
our on our podcast. No,
Yeah,
on our
yeah.
podcast,
That's a pranks. Where's my mask?
that's a signal to drink. So whenever we record, there's always something going on at Christian's place because he's like in downtown Toronto, and so sometimes you'll hear like druggies yelling outside his window, or hookers or whatever. The neighbors banging on doors. It's great. It really makes the
neighborhood color.
That's
Real flavorful.
And we're catching it live. I love it.
Yeah, so no, I've never been. That plan was kiboshed. Still married.
Despite
much to her chagrin. I feel terrible for the poor woman.
That's right. Yeah, it's it's not because I'm a real catch or anything. No, it's never worked out. So I mean, there's always been the plan, right? But I mean, our dollar's gone to shit. The odds of me actually getting there before I die, I'm putting it at like under 10%, unless I win the lotto or something. Then I'll come. I'll go hang out. And quite frankly, I get the idea. Like, so for so many years, our podcast was very divisive and deride, like, because we didn't hold back when things weren't going well. And if you know anything about Werder Bremen supporters, there's nothing going wrong ever, like ever.
Okay.
You can get relegated and it's the greatest day that ever happened because
the club is still there. The club is still there. They haven't gone bankrupt. Come on.
Yet. Right. And even if we went bankrupt, we'd be like, woo, we went bankrupt. And so, it's
for the greater good. We did it, you guys.
We've been waiting all this time. No, and I actually get the feeling that if I went there, and then one of the reasons we don't do video, if I ever went there and was identified, I'm not so sure it would be like, hey, you're that asshole.
Honestly, I feel like the FO would take us out before the supporters would.
Yeah.
He Fritz with a sniper rifle on a donkey somewhere.
Frank Bauman in a panel van comes rolling in.
I was gonna say, bag over your head, throw it in the back.
Do you actually get?
You?
Yeah, you're now carrying it away. Do you actually get any responses from the Werder Bremen fan base in Germany as well?
Absolutely.
No. People
for sure.
Well, the fan base, yeah. The club, no. The club has completely ignored us. They haven't ignored everybody, but they have ignored us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Must be a reason.
Yeah. Fan base. Yeah. I wonder why. Fan base, honestly, actually really, really enjoys this. I know, like, so before I was even doing the show, I would have people reach out on social media because, I mean, we're a bit of an anomaly. I mean, we know we're a big club in Germany. Fuck anybody that says otherwise. But in the outside world, I mean, this is something that we talk about often. German football is very provincial. And when I say that in the sense,
niche.
It's like, it's niche. It's within Germany. Like, real heads know, but a lot of people, they get taken away with, the consumerism or the imagery or whatever, the sexiness of, Spanish Barcelona, Arsenal. And nothing against those clubs, but I don't give a shit about them. That's not my fucking problem. So and you do have such hardcore support that they're like, why on God's green earth is this guy in fucking Toronto supporting our club?
Exactly.
And then when they find out our story, they love it and they love our point of view. They love that I got a lot of like a wonderful, vast, different group of people. Some of them are like all old ultras, which is always amazing. Get a lot of like from the ultras supporter scene. Like I've had people just send me stickers and like, big shout outs to all those dudes. They're all amazing. And they're like, you come to town, you give us a call, we'll take you out. And I'm like, I'm an old man, but I'm into it. Let's go. And then we just have other supporters, like just every day, like family people just being like, this is fantastic. I can't speak for Ben.
No, I get the criticism. Yeah.
That's right.
You pronounced
We're
this
for the
wrong.
people anyways, so.
Yeah.
I like this story. This is really, really interesting. Now, if you think of the German fan base, but before I ask that, I would like to know, you seem to have a North American fan base as well. Is that true? Is that something you initiated? People coming together underneath, let's say, your wings or
That's a
your
good question.
platform?
That was Verter North America started before the podcast.
Yeah.
Christian used to do work message boards and stuff, right? Like there was a group, there was maybe 5 or 6 of you guys that kind of.
It's pretty organic, though. I can't take any credit for that. I think we just find each other, right? It's kind of like we're all a bunch of perverts looking for the same thing, and we manage to find each other on the same platform, and then we trade our filthy material back and forth. And that's honestly what it comes down to.
Intriguing.
Yeah. Send me a DM.
I don't know if we're doing a very good job representing the Werder Bremen fan base at this point in time.
Well, to be honest, if I think of the Werder Bremen fan base that we have here in Germany, and if they knew that you would come on the podcast about RB Leipzig, initiated by two people who support RB Leipzig, we are those hated clients in German football.
Right. Oh, sorry.
Why did you gotta go
just
now?
For everybody. So fuck both of you guys there. I think is that good? Is that what I?
Fuck your club. Fuck you guys. You represent absolute evil.
Both of you. No Mountain Dew, Red Bull. I can see it.
We should put this one as a disclaimer just before the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Right.
We had to say it.
It took 16 minutes, but they finally said it.
I feel much better now. Put in my place. But obviously, I think North Americans do not have any problems with that kind of model, because the ownership that RB Leipzig has is okay. It is 99% by Red Bull Limited, so subsidiary of Red Bull, and there's 1% of the club. And we have now. Here's the big difference, and this is where we're in that sense different. We have executive members. You can't just get into those membership like that. You have to fork out a lot of money, and RB Leipzig can actually decide if you can be a member or not. And but to be honest, I don't give a crap. I don't care, because all we want to see is football, good football. We want to go into a place which is open, optimistic, and inclusive. And we may not have those ultras and those real, in a strange way, passionate supporters. And to be fair, Werder Bremen always brings a lot of supporters and a lot of chants, and it is really enjoyable. However, they do get in. We get the usual abuse as well. That's fine. But usually they are fair, and they just provide a lot of chance, a good atmosphere for the game. But if you talk to most of Werder Bremen fans, they're gonna of course dislike that, because this is an artificially made up club of RB Leipzig, and company controlled club effectively, and they're right. But the people who are actually loads of people who just attend these matches, support RB Leipzig, they just view it as a club which is very good for representation for Leipzig. Come on, RB Leipzig's now in Europe all the time, every year. And if you watch Champions League, you can see Arsenal and then you see Leipzig. And everybody takes it for granted. And I listened to another podcast like The Rest is Football, BBC, Gary Lineker. And Alan Shearer was actually here when Villa beat Leipzig. And they both said, okay, they had problems getting here because there are no direct flights. But they also said it's a hard place to win. So there's a lot of respect outside of Germany for RB Leipzig. And of course, fans of Werder Bremen who've been to the second tier and lived like you through those really bad years, they really don't appreciate it, because they view it as a club which came in through the side door.
It's not a tradition.
It's a different model, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a tradition verein. It's not a traditional club.
But how can you have?
And honestly, I get it. I mean, here in North America, all our clubs are fucking privately owned.
Franchises.
We grew up with WWF for crying out loud. It's sports entertainment.
It's literally North American sports entertainment. And I understand why German or Werder supporters hate your club. I get it. It's because it is perceived as a threat to how things have always been done, and it's a genuine fear that what they have will be
Change.
taken away from them. Yeah, change to a certain extent, but also think about, like, without the 50+1 rule, these clubs can fucking disappear off the face of the earth, just overnight. And we've seen it. And I mean, take a look at Schalke and fucking Scheisse Haasbau. They are literally always on the cusp of fucking just going down and disappearing, God willing. But I mean, like, it's a fear. It's a real fear, and this is a threat because then you can have these, like, foreign ownerships come in, just stomp around, do whatever the fuck they want, and then disappear overnight. But it doesn't bother us because it's all we have over here. You know?
Well,
Exactly.
and I've always looked at it as don't hate the player, hate the game, right? If it was illegal, let's say, for RB Leipzig to exist the way it does, it wouldn't exist, right? So
That's true.
to what degree can I hate a team that exists because the league allows it to exist?
I agree.
To me, it's kind of be mad at the league, then that's fine. But I mean, to lash out at fans again, it doesn't fit my mental structure very well. I don't understand it. I'm sure there are those, and the other thing is I'll be just see how many people I can piss off at once here. There are those in Germany that probably would love the idea of the game getting reduced right back down to a leather football being played on cow pastures and 200 people standing on wooden stands, because that would be back to the purest form, right? But the reality is for majority of them, they would hate it if the game was reduced, if they didn't have the lights and the glamour and all that, and that all takes money to run. Now, there are
Exactly.
some clubs that have found a different way to make it run, and if the league allows it, I mean, what do I say?
And also, a lot of these fans support clubs or admire clubs who are company controlled, like Liverpool, like City, like
Yeah.
Barcelona. And it doesn't matter. It's all about Germany or the Bundesliga, to keep it pure. And if you talk
Yeah.
about a club potentially disappearing, well, we had that in Leipzig a couple of times.
Yeah.
Those two
Yeah.
clubs over here, Chemie Leipzig, Lok Leipzig, okay, they were artificially constructed during East German times through
Yeah.
political will of the Socialist Party at the time. So until 1990, they were actually artificial clubs in that sense. But that's my opinion. So I piss off a lot
Yeah.
of people over here as well. But afterwards, like Richard mentioned, between both of them, they went bankrupt 6 times. So my gut feeling is, or my view is, a lot of people over here go and watch RB Leipzig. And they have the same passion as those ultra traditional supporters as well. And they watch them because they appreciate the football that's played. They appreciate the project. They are they are spoiled because in those 15 years, come on, RB Leipzig's been in the Champions League like 7, 8 times in a row. Never
Pretty
worse
fucking
than
impressive.
5th or 6th in the league. And this year we actually got impatient. We thought we would win the championship. I mean, why? On which grounds? But if RB Leipzig was to disappear, well, people would be sad, but they wouldn't be shocked. If Werder Bremen disappears from Bremen, the whole town would shut down. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a big difference here. In Leipzig, people went through this for a long, long time, several times. And for a long time, they did not have top flight Bundesliga football.
Well,
So
were you guys aware that Werder Bremen has sold now 18% shares in Werder, and they are
No.
now looking to sell up to 25%?
Okay, but it's
right,
about
it's still
the overall control, isn't it? If it's
Yeah.
less than
Sure, but here's the reality. The only reason we are where we are right now, where we have liquidity, where we have any kind of financial stability or the ability to purchase or move players, is because of financial investment, right? So we are actually enjoying the benefits of financial investment. So it becomes a little bit of, how far into this before we become hypocritical. Right, right. We're enjoying the and again, I'm probably pissing a lot, whatever. But we are literally enjoying the benefits of outside money, of business money coming in. Yeah, it's very controlled. It is going to be maintained at that below. They said 25% is the max, but it is a legitimate, massive reason why we're seeing some of the success we're seeing. So there's a reason it happens. There's a reason why financial injection, why investors are potentially necessary. The model is changing, and there's coming a point in time where the model will change. So long as, I mean, unless something cataclysmic happens, wherein everything's gone, the model will change. In order to remain competitive, you are going to have to find outside money, especially for smaller market teams like Werder Bremen. Regardless of how storied and traditional and big of a club you are, your actual market size that you draw from is fairly small comparatively, right? So they've got to
And
find ways to
I
finance.
would even go so far as to argue that, unfortunately, due to like provincial thinking, Bremen has not been working international markets in a manner that they could be. It's been pretty frustrating as somebody in North America. I mean, I'll tell you, I drive an hour away to go to Kitchener Waterloo, which was originally known as Berlin. It's got a large German population. So, like where I grew up, there's a bunch of cities that had like a lot of German diaspora. And there's a Dortmund school there. So I will go and
Okay.
see Dortmund jerseys. Natürlich. I mean, like, honestly, like, there's fucking Dortmund jerseys there. I'll see kids wearing Scheiße Bayern jerseys. And I never see any representation for Werder. And it makes me absolutely crazy. You know what I mean? Like, Canada, we have some incredible talent here, and we do zero scouting. I think we've had one Canadian kid. I mean, we had Paul Stalteri, one of the greatest goddamn players to ever grace Canada's field, and Vesa Stadion. Anyways, so we've had him, and then we just had another kid that I think we sold back to York United, which is in the
Yeah, we just
Canadian
let
League.
go. Yeah.
But like we do
Okay.
zero scouting here, and we do zero reach in North America. Like it's all organic. It's all been organic. We know a guy who is in the States. Werder Bryan is what his name is.
Yeah.
A lovely dude, and he's been doing some amazing, like honestly, on his own time, hosting like games in New York, encouraging people to come out, and the FO's actually reached out to him, which has been wonderful. But that's essentially what North American outreach looks like for Werder Bremen right now. It's up to us, the supporters, to do it. Now, I don't know whether it's because of financial sort of restrictions. I don't know whether it's because of once again, unfortunately, this provincial thinking that there is, it's ours and we must cherish it. And we can't share it with anybody else, which I get to a certain extent.
They poured all their money into Vietnam.
Yeah, fucking Vietnam. Like, what the fuck is that about, for Christ's sake? The fucking football superpower of Asia. Christ almighty. So it's like this is money to be made over here. And it's just selling shirts. You know what I mean? Introducing the team, like small shit. And you don't have to make it, make it what it is. Sell it for what it is, which is a true footballing club, loved by the community, cherished by the city. Right now we're fun to watch. We've got incredible tradition, and it's something that you can make yours. It'd be a destination. It's a great city to go see, but nothing, man.
Obviously, Canada is just not identified as a attractive market for German football. So maybe it's like, okay, Canada is all about playing hockey and cutting down trees. So, right,
throwing down logs. Wow, but this has been really interesting. Thank you for being so open and honest and sharing those views. Because for us, it's always very interesting to hear the perspective of other fans and other fan bases. And we usually get the stick from the German side. So I was really interested to hear what people abroad think. And you've been doing this podcast for such a long time already, and been sticking with it through really bad times as well. So well done on you. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, now that we're doing well, we're gonna give it up though.
Gonna give it up though. Too much swearing.
Yeah, we can't be all pissed off and angry now that they're winning. It's really difficult to come up with good things to talk about.
Week after week after week.
Yeah,
it's so hard. It's all positive, damn it, and it's true. Damn it. So what we usually do in this pod is we look at our next opponent. We have a little jingle there. So usually Richard gives us an insight of our next opponent. Richard, are you okay to start?
Well,
After we do it.
well, honestly, I would try to change a little bit because we have a special guest, and I would like to ask some questions about
Hey, let's do that.
how you're feeling about the season so far and what you're expecting from the upcoming from the Rückrunde and the upcoming match and so on. And I don't want to
Okay.
talk about Werder Bremen players in particular because I never could be as good as you guys are.
Cool. Let's do that.
I'm laughing at Ken's reaction. He's like, ugh.
So here we go.
I think we just fucked up your little interstitial there.
Yeah,
That's
well,
okay.
it's-
I can
it's
always,
cool,
I can
this is
always
just light,
edit
and we
cut
leave-
things out,
we're gonna
move
leave
them
it just
around,
like that.
and at the
Okay.
end of the day, you're gonna say you love Bayern München.
Yeah, get fucked.
It's gonna be
Seriously.
you're gonna announce exclusively on our pod that you're gonna
Sooner
start a
eat
Bayern
my own
podcast.
shit.
Mehr san mehr. Sorry,
Oh, I
over
didn't
to you,
realize this was
Richard.
going to be such a hostile environment.
You said fuck you.
Yeah, you started it.
16 minutes. I got it on tape.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Swiftly moving on.
Okay. Ja, was ist grün und stinkender Fisch is coming to town. And yeah. Okay, Christian just got it. And so yeah, Werder Bremen, I think you're playing a very good season, maybe over your expectations so far this campaign. And it's quite impressed because you had some additions, especially in midfield, and that seems to be working out very well. So in your from your view, from your point of view, what is the most impressive player so far, and which player you cannot leave out for 1 second of the game?
You want it, Ben?
Yeah, sure, whatever. Honestly, it's pretty difficult to select one specific one. It is definitely victory by committee. There are individuals that have raised their game specifically this season. But if I were to pick the game changer this year, it would have to be Kuhn on the left flank. A loan that we pulled in during the summer, and I really wasn't sure what the hell he was going to do because we already had Agu playing at the left, and Demant was potentially supposed to be playing cover there. But what has happened with the addition of Kuhn is that Werder Bremen has become lethal on both flanks. Kuhn is an extremely versatile player, much like Mitchell Weiser on the right. And it's pretty easy to pick. Like lots of other players you could pick. But he has, since he has become a regular player in the team, he has completely changed the prospects of Werder Bremen in any given game. It used to be teams could just shut down our right flank, and then we were stuck, right? But now we have a lot of potential through cross-field switching that has become a real thing this year, and yes, that would be my pick. Would be Kuhn, and hopefully we pull the transfer. We have a we have a purchase clause with that loan for I think just a little over 5 million. So if we can roll if we can roll our pennies together and purchase him, I think that would be worthwhile.
Yeah, I'm glad you picked Kieran because I wasn't thinking Kieran. I was thinking my man Jens Stay, who's been an absolute fucking beast this season.
You
I mean,
haven't
he's
been
always
able to
been.
get your lips off his ass all
Oh
season.
my god! And I'm more than happy to keep it glued there. He's been fucking phenomenal. I've always been a big fan of this man. He's a box-to-box mid, and when he came to us, he was coming from Copenhagen, and I know a supporter from Copenhagen, so I kind of asked him, as to what to expect from him. He said, he's a very consistent, stable, box-to-box midfielder who can make forward runs. He's able to take shots, but don't expect like a whole lot. He's had some clutch goals But he's kind of lacked in that scoring, that finishing. And guess what? He's managed to find it this season, and he's been incredible to watch. And he's our number one goal scorer on the team right now. He's scored more goals than our strikers, which is fucking hilarious. There's more sirens again. No,
drink.
It's okay.
yeah. So he's got 6 goals and then probably like 3 or 4 assists. Absolute beast in the midfield. I mean, I'm sure we both give Leanan a nice little shout out as well because he's also been so stable in front of the back line. It really is tough to pick just one. I mean, for new signings, I would probably say Kieran for sure. We haven't actually seen a whole lot from a lot of our other signings that we kind of signed
Correct.
over the last year, which has been a bone of contention for both Ben and then for North American
Like 5 other
supporters.
people.
Yeah. So 7 of
Because
us in
everything's
total
great.
are absolutely enraged.
Yeah.
Exactly. But yeah, I think those are definitely 2 players that you probably want to keep an eye on for the game this weekend.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Interesting because my obvious choice would have been Romano Schmid because I think it's to brain him in midfield and it feels like to me at least if he's not there that Werder Bremen is just not on that level with him. But yeah, your insights are so that's what I'm trying to say. Your insights are very very good and way better than mine. And next question. So you didn't lose much this year. So okay, you had this 0-5 blowout versus Bayern Munich, but okay, there are other clubs that had this one too, and so no shame about that one. And then you just lost against Freiburg, I think, and to Frankfurt. I think only 3 losses in the Bundesliga so far. Is it correct?
Just bringing up all that fucking dirty work, eh?
Okay.
Have us on the show and just making us feel terrible.
There was a pretty bad showing against Gladbach as well, where we lost
it was
1-4.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
so
that was
there's 4 losses, but it's not that much. And so obviously there doesn't seem to be much weaknesses. So in your opinion, why put this loss against Bayern aside because those losses don't count? Let's say against Gladbach or at home versus Freiburg, what were the reasons you didn't come up with points in that games?
Yeah, the biggest issue that Werder has had has been the ability to do something with the ball. So any team, so again, Bayern Munich excluded, any team that demands us to play has often had an advantage. The other thing would be if the opposition plays a good high press. So Ole Werner likes to play from the back. Michael Zetterer has been absolutely foundational to that change. Has been very good. However, we play with 3 center backs, all of which are slow, 2 of which can pass the ball. And so a lot of times what will happen is if you've got a team that's really aggressively going to press, we're forced then to shoot a long ball to whom? Romano Schmid, who can't get on most of the adult rides at the circus, right? Because he's not tall enough. I mean, that's basically what you got. Marvin Duksch, who I'm pretty sure tied for a vertical with most 3rd graders. And when he jumps, he ducks. You'll notice that. That's his right. So it really is. It's completely hamstringing when a team presses high and presses aggressively. And in most of the games, so even like the 1-0 win against Bochum, which was an absolute embarrassment. Bochum pushed us so hard defensively, we couldn't get anything going. We are, in a lot of ways, locked into playing out from the back, and really until KK Top is back from injury and is assimilated into the team better, we really don't have that target type striker or that big body up front that can receive those long passes.
So that should be a good advice for Marco Rose this weekend.
Psych,
No.
we're great against the press.
No.
Suckers.
Cool. So basically, yeah. So I would like to ask one last question, but you basically just answered it because my next question would have been, what would be the advice to how to beat Werder Bremen? So, but basically, you told us already, and
Pass the ball.
pass the ball quickly. And
Even
You're a genius.
okay,
who is
Well,
this
the other thing Bremen does is they man mark the midfield. And so if you've got players with really good movement, which if I look at your roster, you do, and you can pull that midfield out into the wings or away from their traditional positioning, you open up massive gaps because of the man covering. And this is something again that Ole Werner has adhered to come hell or high water. And so teams that have got really intelligent players exploit that man marking very, very well.
This all sounds very suitable for our team, doesn't it, Richard?
if all of them are healthy, yes. So yeah, then
Yeah.
maybe. But you mentioned it in the beginning. So if we're missing Schlager or Xavi or Raum or three of them, we are not able to compensate that. So maybe I ask another question, and this is the last one I would like to ask you. What would be your cunning plan to come up against RB Leipzig on the weekend?
good reference? Blackadder. I've got a cunning plan. I really honestly don't even know. I leave all that shit to Ben. He's way more knowledgeable about tactics.
I'm pretty sure we're fucked.
Yeah,
Well,
I hate to say it.
usually you're doing good. So last year there was, especially in the
1-1
Hinrunde,
draw.
a surprising 1-1 draw to me.
Yeah, so this year has been a little bit of an outlier against teams of Leipzig's stature. Traditionally, Ole Werner has played like with a back five, played an incredibly anti-football type game. Really just kind of clogged it up and grind it out. This year he has experimented with some different ideas where pressing becomes, there'll be a 5 or a 10 minute portion where the back line will move up aggressively and then we'll press for a little while, because that tends to be our best opportunity against high functioning teams, is to almost kind of surprise them with a press, get a ball turnover in a decent place, try and get the ball into the box as quickly as possible, and make something happen off a counterattack. This year he's experimented a little bit more with that. So I'm just trying to think about some of the games that we like. Leverkusen was a game that we didn't just sit back and wait for the game to kind of grind out. I'm just trying to think here. I'm pretty sure we went at Frankfurt as well. Dortmund we ground out. That was a dull ass game.
But that was an early game too. That was earlier on in the season. But we should have won that. We were pretty pissed off because there were subs that could have been made. Honestly, I think you're right. I think what we'll do is and this has actually been increasingly what we've seen from our club this season, is we have been going forward. We've got a lot more. Not only are we becoming a little bit more creative, and I use that very hesitantly, but we've actually been taking our chances and using our chances properly versus, I would say like 9 times out of 10 last year, we just fire the ball into the stands or run it into the corner or just die like in your final third. And it would be the most agonizing thing to watch fucking every 10 seconds. Oh my God, it was horrible. This year we're actually doing a little bit more, mostly because my guy Jens Stang. Let's go. Yeah, that's right. But there's I feel not, and I don't think we're going to win this. I think we're probably going to lose 2-1, but I do think that we're going to be a little bit more on the attack and pushing forward a lot more and less apprehensive.
We are the second best away team in the league right now. And Leipzig is kind of somewhere. Yeah, right. And Leipzig is kind of mid-table at home. But again, right, like I'm not sure what you guys have for people coming back from injuries. Could be a completely different team than that was playing the first half of the season for you guys soon enough.
Ben, how optimistic are you, if I may ask? Because Chris said you're going to lose 2-1.
Yeah. Okay. With 10 being a win and 0 being a monkey throwing its feces against the wall, I would probably put myself at like a 3. I'm
really. Wow.
Yeah. So Ole Werner has never had a complete consistent season. Yeah. Since taking over at Werder Bremen, he is one half is fantastic and the other half is absolute shit.
You're still in the first half. It's not done yet.
Well, okay, yeah, technically, right? But we're looking at it like, so I honestly I don't know. There's a lot of apprehension on my part. How many of these wins were slightly fortuitous? Again, like the game against Bochum comes to mind. That the late win against Holstein Kiel. These are wins that I know they're character wins and right, but those are games where we're supposedly the favorite and we squeak out of there, barely
Not
with a
convincing.
win.
Not convincing at all.
Yeah, so there are enough signs that everything that we have been cheering and celebrating, it could be over with a string of bad luck. Like it's I believe the team is doing better than last year. They're more cohesive than last year. Agreed. All those things agreed. But I think there are still enough weaknesses tactically that if exploited and taken advantage of, Werder just doesn't quite have the personnel yet to really be a top 6 or 7 competitor. We just
Can all come crashing at any moment. It just takes an injury and a loss, and then all of a sudden we're fucking fighting, relegation again. This is our reality.
Yeah, well, that's
our reality.
A skeptic is just a jilted romantic, right? And that's what we are. We're romantics that just never got any.
She's fucked my friend far too many times.
But I'm still surprised. I would have thought you come in with a lot more confidence. Richard, how confident are you about RB Leipzig?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this team comes out of the tunnel with these key additions that come back from injuries now. And I think it's a clear advantage for Leipzig that we are facing Bremen now in January. If we would have faced them in December, that would have been a loss. No doubt about that, because they were just shitty in December, as everyone could see on primetime and national television. Ganz scheiße.
We beat Frankfurt twice. Eintracht Frankfurt had no chance.
Yeah, because there was some miraculous things that happened there. I don't know what. And
I chanted really loud.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's gonna be a tough task for us either, because as I'm trying to say, Xavi's comeback, this is great, and we need him, and we missed him desperately. And David Raum is coming back. We'll strengthen our left side, no doubt about that. But all those guys haven't played about 8 weeks, something like that. So they had a test match now, most recently, against the third-tier Czech team, and we blew them out 10-0. But this is just nothing to take something away with for the upcoming match. So if our players, and if Marco Rose is capable to put those those pieces together in the correct cohesion, and things starting to work out well in the first 20-30 minutes, then I think it's going to be a heck of a task for Werder Bremen. But on the other hand side, if we are just not awake from the very first second, and maybe Bremen catches us with an early goal over the first 5 minutes, then maybe our legs are starting to get shaky and a bit, and it's going to be just a self-inflicted wound again, and that you say, okay, we're back with our key players, but still not at a level where we should be, and still at November football. So I've got mixed feelings, and I don't know what to expect from Sunday. I hope that we obviously get away with a win, but I do have a lot of respect for Werder Bremen. If you're surfing around Transfermarkt.de or some other message boards or forums from the German Bremen supporters, they're quite optimistic. So they're much more optimistic than you are, guys.
They usually are.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong in Bremen ever.
Like you said, it's true. But I got a similar sentiment, because it's been so dreadful during November, and we were just glad that the winter break arrived, because the squad was completely depleted, and we were just happy to scrape through the DFB Pokal and be in the quarterfinals, and also stay up in the top 4. But when we got taken apart in Munich, that was just unbelievable. And it was really, really hard to watch. Yes, it was Bayern Munich, but you don't want to lose 5-1 over there. And it could have been 6-7 or 8-1 and had no chance at all. But there was no more energy. There was no gas in the tank anymore. And the people forgave. I think they forgive the squad, but we just hope that the top management, that they learn from this. It needs a different squad. It needs a different roster going forward into the next season. But also at the moment, there doesn't seem to be a lot. Well, there is a little bit of movement in the transfer window, but everybody who's coming over in winter is got to be somebody who can help us straight away, and it's a backup. But it's not really as if you were following a strategy and a cunning plan in order to get to a vision where we were going to be top of the league. That's not going to happen. So hopefully for us, it's going to be, again, finish the top 4, hopefully get as far as possible in the DFB Pokal, but to get into the Champions League again next year is vital. But at the moment in time, I have no idea who's going to be in the roster next year. Is Xavi going to be there? But that's really too early to talk about. Just hopefully they come back, they get integrated very well, and we kick some ass. But it's still very dodgy for Sunday. So it's not as, we're not as confident as we would be in normal times when Werder Bremen comes over. But even then, Werder Bremen is difficult to play. I remember last season was the last home game and we drew 1-0. Seibold hit an own goal. It's your favorite player, by the way, Richard. And luckily Šeško equalized 61st minute. But then there was nothing else happening there. I think we secured Champions League qualification anyway. So I kind of expect a draw, 1-1 draw. That's but it doesn't help us. We need to win. We need the 3 points because we got 2 teams behind us with 25 points.
I'm happy with 1 point.
I forgot to mention that we are undefeated when I make pancakes on Sundays.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That or crepes. Well, I mean, your wife made crepes the last day, didn't she?
Do us a favor and stop doing pancakes, right? Thank you.
Yeah, 2 burgers. Burgers.
We gotta run this pancake magic as far and hard as we can. No, I think right now we're 5-2-0 when I make pancakes in the morning. So
wow.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't want to take all the credit. I'll take some though.
You should. You know what? You should take at least 98% of it.
I'm a humble guy, but okay. Yeah.
It's very big of you. Very big of you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be there on Sunday, and hopefully, we come away with the better end. But yes, Werder Bremen's been really exciting. Exciting to watch this year, from our point of view, and it's very good to see. And you're the best team in the north of Germany. Forget about Rostock, forget about Bremen. Forget about Hamburg. It's there's nobody else who can top you there.
Absolutely.
Ever.
Lebenslang grün-weiß.
And it's interesting. There are quite a lot of Bremen supporters in Leipzig and around the city. And I think it's got something to do with after the reunification in the early 90s. I think people lost the GDR clubs and trying to find new ones. And in the early 90s, very early 90s, Werder Bremen was successful. And maybe that led to a much bigger fan base than you would recognize.
Greener pastures.
Yeah, there are not as many Hamburg SV fans, not as many St. Pauli fans in Leipzig, not as many as like other clubs from the north. So I think there will be a lot of people from Leipzig or around Leipzig in the stands on Sunday. Yeah.
And the good thing about our stadium is, they don't have to fear anything. There are no animosities. We all can sit together as long as you behave in a civilized way. You don't need to fear anything. But I also think that during East German times, people also had a West German club, and Werder Bremen was successful in the 80s as well at some point. And I presume a lot of people notice that. And over here, what you've got in Leipzig and in many places in East Germany, people will follow several clubs. They may have their club in their own city, and they follow also West German club as well. So
that makes total sense that you would follow Leipzig and then you'd follow a good club like Werder.
Got to make up for that direct. I mean, you see that here in North America as well. I mean, you'll have people that have their club back home, and then they've got their club in the city that they. So, like, I support the only other club that I support is Toronto FC, where Fußball got Torsten Frings came to play for, I think 1 or 2 seasons. Yeah. As a broken man, nonetheless, but it doesn't matter. He still graced this brand, this hallowed ground, But yeah. Now we have that in common.
You should have got a Werder Bremen shirt signed by Torsten Frings.
I know. I actually have a Toronto FC shirt with Torsten Frings on the back. But what I really want, oh yeah, so that's actually it's in storage. But what I'd really like is a game worn TFC Torsten Frings jersey. That
You
would
should wear that one.
oh,
On that day, you will make it to the Weser Stadium. You should wear that one.
Yeah.
it'd be fucking incredible. Absolutely, people lose their mind. Well, I have game worn Stalteris. I have game worn Ailtons. I think I've got a game worn Rudi Voller. Yeah, I've got.
Wow.
Yeah.
But no one got a Frings shirt from Toronto FC. They're gonna get a rip you off. You have to put it really tight.
It's mock up. Come on, it's a
I'll
mock
have to
up.
actually buy two so I can have one here at home, and I don't mind getting that one dirty.
He's a smart guy.
People lose their mind.
That's very smart.
He still comes to Toronto too. He goes and stands with the supporters.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I've seen him like every year. Oh yeah. I know. Even with his legs being the way they are, I know it's a shocker. Yeah. No, he loves Toronto. He loves baseball apparently. So comes and watches the Blue Jays. Comes and eats hot dogs and stands at TFC games. So I fucking love it.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
Wonderful.
my boy.
Well, this is a really nice story. Something we wouldn't be aware of over here. Listen, guys, it's been a real pleasure talking to you. We're coming up to an hour, and we're very much aware of the time, your time as well. Is there anything else you like to ask us? Maybe towards the end. Did we annoy you enough? Never, never. I'm always got a conscience. I should support a good club, shouldn't I? A real club with tradition and all that jazz.
Yeah, that's right. Feed the machine.
All I was going to say, as Mario, is if you're in the stands on Sunday and you smell something burning, you're either having a stroke or you're smelling my pancakes kicking your ass.
Well, can't be worse than can't be worse than when we played Wolfsburg, but that 1-5 was so dreadful.
That's pretty
pancakes.
foul. I mean, I think that's as bad as it gets is Wolfsburg. I mean, you want to talk about another fucking plastic club.
Yeah, we're going to talk about them soon when we play them the quarterfinals in the cup, and it's been so often when RB Leipzig played Wolfsburg, and I can't tell you how high the expectation is here in terms of we need to kick them out, but the enthusiasm is quite low because we're so used to it. It's Wolfsburg again. Oh yeah, Wolfsburg, very nice. No.
Amazing.
No, you guys have been super gracious, and
really appreciate being on the show, guys.
Yeah, and I know this is a new endeavor for you both, and I really wish you all the luck in the world. It's not an easy thing being a content producer, especially when you got family and things like that. So I fully appreciate the difficulty and the strain, like the love actually is what it is to dedicate the kind of time and effort that's required to do this. A lot of people that consume the content, they have no idea. So for those from somebody that does the work to you, well done. I wish you all the luck in the world. You guys are going to do great because you can just sit down and smash out a show like this, right? And that's great. I think you guys are two wonderful guys that you'll do just fine, irrespective of who you cheer for.
That's really appreciated.
Thank you. I made it support a tainted product.
I made it all the way to the end. Like I
can hear a butt coming on. Damn it.
Yeah, honestly, we really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. You know, best of luck to you and your podcast. Sincerely, you know. Yeah.
We can only return the favor. We will only give this back to you. I know you've been in the game for such a long time, and really put my head off for that, because that means a lot of endurance, and especially during times when Werder Bremen wasn't so great to talk about, and maybe the response you've got was negative. And then great that you stuck with it. But I think we all share the same. I wouldn't say passion, but we love to talk, and we love to talk about football, and
absolutely
that is a real base there, and we just enjoy what we do. And if people listen to us, that's great. And don't kill us. That's wonderful.
Yeah. That's all we ask. Just don't hurt me.
And to be honest, I would love to repeat that at some point. And maybe there's always another match next in the second part of the season when we need to travel to Bremen, and that's usually always difficult for RB Leipzig. But maybe if there is a piece that we talk about, history of Leipzig, of football of Leipzig, and maybe the perspective that other people have of our club, and something you went into at the beginning of the podcast, maybe there's something we could do together. But for today, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Christian, stay safe. There are a lot of, flashlights going through your lounge. I don't know what's going on there.
It's only the third raid today. I'll be fine.
All right. It's good. It's good, mate. It's safe. No Mexicans. No offense.
It seems like your furniture is just right in front of the door. You're prepared, so no one can get into your home.
That's right. That's right. You know exactly what's going on. I got my shotgun under here.
And Ben lives out in the sticks. He's safe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's about 10 feet under. There's how many feet of concrete in between you and the surface?
If I told you that, I'd have to kill you.
Yeah, fair.
No, here we go. Listen, guys, it's been a huge pleasure and honor to have you on the show, and really can't just thank you enough for that. So, Brian, wish you all the best.
Guys. Yeah,
best of luck to you guys.
Have a wonderful afternoon. We're going to have a nice night, hopefully.
Yeah.
Sleep tight, boys.
Get to go to bed. Good night.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Pancakes.
Oh.
Ciao.
Take care. See ya.
Happy note. Bye-bye.